I'd like to call the Special Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting of July 9th, 2024 to order. Our first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
I move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and that moves us on to staff report number 14.
Yes, thank you, members of the board, and thank you for convening for this special meeting. Tonight, we'll be asking you to consider an amended preliminary development agreement with J.O. Companies LLC for the development of 40 units of affordable housing at 6501 and 6525 Penn Avenue South. On June 17th of this year, the HRA approved a preliminary development agreement with J.O. Companies, as I mentioned, for 40 units of workforce housing on HRA properties on Penn Avenue. Under the terms of the agreement, the HRA agreed to provide financial assistance in the amount of up to $985,000 in the form of a grant or loan from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and/or a reduced price for the land. The amount of this assistance was based on a review of the project's preliminary financial information using an estimated value of $1 million for the land. However, a broker's price opinion of the property's value was completed after the HRA meeting and estimates a significantly higher land value of $1.5 million. Based on this value, the amount of the project's gap increases by $500,000, and the request of assistance from the HRA would total $1.485 million. The proposed amendment to the agreement reflects this larger amount. While the agreement indicates a larger amount of assistance, this additional assistance would not actually cost the HRA anything in terms of additional funds from the trust fund or another source. The HRA is considering selling the property for $500,000, and this does not change in the amended agreement. The change is simply to the amount of the discount the HRA would be offering. In this case, a discount of $1 million instead of a discount of $500,000. The developer is planning to submit an application to the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency for federal low-income housing tax credits on July 11th, that's Thursday, in order to finance the development. Points are awarded to the developments based in part on the amount of local assistance provided to a project. The higher value of the HRA's assistance, in this case, to the project, will warrant a higher score for the project and make it more competitive for funding. The developer is on his way, actually walking in the door right now, and he is here for questions, and I will also stand for questions from the board.
Okay, any questions from my commissioners?
I didn't have questions. I had some comments, so I'll wait till after we're having the discussion.
All right, very good.
I have a couple of comments.
Commissioner Young.
Should I offer them now or wait until we have a motion? I'll make them now. I'm not against approving this amendment. I'm concerned, though, that not knowing the market value of the property, and I understand broker opinion of value. I am a real estate broker. I do them myself. They're not always right. They are often right. So there's no guarantee we would have gotten $1.5 million for this property if we offered on the open market. But knowing that this parcel is valued at $1.5 million or $39 a square foot tells me that there's maybe more of a range of uses that we could consider for this piece of land. And again, there are no guarantees, so I'm going to vote for this. But in the future, I want to make sure that we have this information before we make the first vote. That way, we can have a more full discussion of the use, of the intensity of the development, of what it is, of what it should be, and the entire financing piece that goes with the development. And again, there's no guarantee that if we put a for sale sign up there that we would have gotten $1.5 million, but it would have been, I would have wanted to have a more full discussion knowing that. So I'll vote for this, but I just want that to be known as we work forward with other development projects in Richfield.
All right, any additional comments or questions? Commissioner Hayford or O'Leary?
I will just say I agree with most of what Commissioner Young just had to say. In that, I think this has been kind of penciled in for an affordable housing project for a long time. We've made a commitment to this developer, and I think we should honor it, and I think this change is reasonable, and I will support it. But I think it's it's a good reminder that just because something is penciled in doesn't mean we should shut out the other possibilities in the discussion. So I agree with your request to ideally have more of this upfront in the future.
Any additional comments or questions at this point?
So I would agree with what has been said. I just wanted to give some feedback to the developer that we've been hearing from the community. And so it doesn't really pertain to this motion, but I figured this is a good opportunity to talk about this. There were some concerns about pedestrian safety because of the parking and all that. And I did ask the question, and I think it's good to know that there's plans to have sidewalks on 65th Street. Because I walked around the neighborhood and it seemed like the east-west streets were narrower. And so that's good that there's that sidewalk coming in on 65th, because it seemed like the north-south streets were wider. But I know there is that concern about pedestrian safety. So anything we can do to help with that would be great. And then the other thing that's been coming up is when you start doing the designs, it's really important to have green space, because we have some 3 and 4 bedroom apartments, so I'm assuming there's going to be families there. And I don't know if that's a rooftop garden or some other design feature, but I do want to really say that the green space is going to be important. And those are things that came up after our last meeting from listening to the community, and I'm sure that you've probably heard a lot more other things from the community, but I just wanted to amplify those voices. And thank you.
Any additional comments or questions? Just one bit of feedback I know that I've heard from the community is there's been some concern, well, we know it's going to have some units with multi-bedrooms, which is great because we don't have a lot of that in Richfield in multifamily dwellings. Ideally, it might provide space for families with children. And there was some concern that I've heard in the community about, would there be any, say, playground space for families with children? And that was one point I know that has been brought up that I think should be considered. All right, hearing no further questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt a resolution approving the execution and delivery of an amended preliminary development agreement with JO Companies LLC for the development of 40 units of affordable housing on Housing and Redevelopment Authority owned property located at 6501 and 6525 Penn Avenue South.
Okay, a motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, a motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Well, that completes our business for this meeting, so we will call this meeting adjourned.